Hi everyone, my name is Tino. About 2 weeks ago, I got laid off from my job in marketing, and I've been looking for a new job ever since. I've been applying, I've been on Indeed, ZipRecruiter all week and all last week, trying to get a job, trying to land an interview, making edits and changes to my resume, trying to do my best to just make myself stand out as a candidate. And a lot has happened in the last 2 weeks that have caused me to really reflect on where I'm at in life. And one thing that I realized is that I don't want to work anymore. And what I mean by that is, like, I don't want to depend on a job anymore. I don't want to go through this process of having to spend an indefinite amount of time applying for jobs only for them to waste my time, or submit resumes and applications only to get rejected. Like, I have dreams and I have goals that I want to accomplish. And honestly, for the last, I don't know, 7, 8 years, I feel like I haven't accomplished anything. I haven't done anything to accomplish my goals. And the times that I tried to do something, like, I was, stopped by some, unfortunate thing that, got in the way or didn't allow me to make progress in the things that I wanted. And yeah, I'm just sitting here on a Sunday and I realized I don't want to do that anymore. I've already lost a lot. I think one of my biggest regrets is all the time that I've wasted. And I think that's partly on my fault. I have ADHD, so my brain works a different way, and I tend to overthink and overanalyze a lot of things. And if things aren't a certain way, or if I don't get results at a certain time, or if my expectations aren't met, I tend to, give up pretty easily. There have been reasons, that were beyond my control. And then there has been moments where it's like, okay, man, like, you got to get it together. You got to do something. And so, I've already gone through this process, 3, 4 times, where I'm just in this cycle of, I get a job and then something happens and then I got to find another job. And, I have responsibilities. I have, people that I need to take care of and people that I care about. And right now, I was thinking to myself, what are some ways that I can accomplish my goals? What are my goals? What do I want to do? How do I, like, do it? What's the path? And the biggest thing that I wish everyone to know about me is, like, I'm Christian. I go to church and, I serve God. I've been serving God for a long time. And, I'm very spiritual. I'm very, faith-based. And I feel like over time, my faith and my, trust in God has diminished, and I've been honest to God about it and other people. Like, I'm not saying that I'm giving up on God or anything like that. I'm just saying that there's been so much going on that I'm like, God, when are you going to come through? When am I going to step into my calling? When am I going to see the blessings or the breakthroughs? When am I going to see that? When am I finally going to overcome myself, my brain, my mind, whatever it is that's holding me back? Like, when am I going to break those chains and break out of here? I grew up poor. I've been in, Section 8 housing for as long as I can remember. Most of my time growing up was just, me and my mom. And, I had a deadbeat stepdad, and he walked out when I turned 18. And, I didn't really grow up with family, so I didn't have, cousins or aunts or things like that. I mean, I have 3 older sisters, but, they were in foster care growing up, so I didn't really have a strong relationship with them. And so, another area where I've struggled a lot has been relationships, and I haven't really had a strong, solid relationship either. And I'm like looking at all these things in my life, and I'm realizing, like, yeah, I'm done. Like, I'm done not getting anywhere, not being able to do the things that I want to do. And, without oversimplifying and, dragging this on any further, uh, I've been thinking a lot about what I can do to achieve my goals and how to, make them happen. And that's kind of why I'm starting this. I'm hoping to document my progress as I pursue my goals and dreams. And I'm hoping that I can build a community where, I can hopefully lean on you guys to help me make better decisions or to help me make better progress. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I know I have a lot that I want to accomplish, and I know I have a lot of value that I offer. And right now, all I want is to just become independent. I want to start my own business. I want to start my own side hustles, and I just want to break free from having to wake up every day and being tied to a job that may or may not want me, tomorrow or the following week or whatever. And I just want to do the things that I want to do. I'm about to hit 30 in what, 2-3 years, and yeah, I want to change my life, and I want to do it in a way that honors God, that blesses not just myself but also those around me. And yeah, so that's kind of what this is for. Right now what I'm thinking about is just brainstorming, coming up with ideas, and maybe we can figure out what steps to take next. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm doing. And if you have any suggestions, any comments or anything, just feel free to message me, or comment something down below in the comment section, or I don't know. But I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna just believe that this is the path God wants me to take, because there hasn't really been a confirmation or a big miracle or like a I don't know. That's where I'm at in life, and I hope to share my story, and I hope if I do make it that I can be an example to some other people out there who may be struggling. Maybe they're dealing with ADHD, or maybe laziness or whatever. Maybe they lost their job, or their girlfriend, or maybe they're just struggling with relationships, or like maybe they're struggling with their walk in God. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. And if you're interested, if you're curious, if you want to follow along, um, you know just subscribe, like, comment. It'll help me a lot, and it'll give me a sense of I'm going in the right direction, I guess. But without further ado, I guess let's hop onto the computer and start brainstorming some ideas. All right, so here we are on my desktop. We're in Canva right now, and I'm going to be using their whiteboard feature to kind of create a vision board. I'm also going to link this vision board in the description below so that you have access to it, so you can look at it later on in the future. But the whole point of why I'm doing this here is because I want to be able to kind of organize all my ideas, put everything together in one place, and kind of use it as a basis to start planning out what to do. My goal is to kind of just put everything on there and kind of use it as like a base of operations, if you will. So my goal is to write down every business endeavor, every idea, every roadblock, and kind of use it to keep track of where I'm at and where I need to go next. Hopefully, if there's anything that stands out, or if anything seems like it could be a good option or a good idea, or even just like a simple step that I can take, let me know in the comment section below, and we can pursue that together. But without further ado, let's go ahead and build my vision board. Vision board. Also, please excuse me if I don't type something right, or if I blink out a lot. I kind of tend to rant a lot and just kind of repeat the same thing over and over again, so my bad. But we're going to go ahead and build this. So these will be our headings. Going to line that up there. And then we're going to go ahead and kind of start creating everything from scratch. There. There. Okay. Let's do this here. This here. Let's do this guy there. We'll do this guy there. And we'll do this guy here. And I'm just going to do this. Perfect. Alright, so the first one is going to be business ideas. This one's going to be our services, kind of the skills and stuff that I offer. This one's going to be brand. It's going to be ideas. And then roadblocks. Is it one word or two? I'll just leave it as two. If it's wrong, oh well. Let's go ahead and connect this here. Let's connect this here. Come on. Ugh. Connect that there. Not there. Oh. Alright. So let's see what it is. This isn't lined up. There you go. Should be able to line it. There it is. And we'll go ahead and line up that. Cool. Let's go ahead and color code these. Make this one blue. Make this one yellow. Maybe green. And this one we can make purple. Make this one red. All right, awesome. So I have 4 business ideas. I already have some domains available that I purchased a while back ago, and we can use those to build websites for these business ideas. But let me go ahead and write them out for you, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit about each one and kind of what the goal and purpose of those are. The first one is tinocast.com. The second one is bluelinedevices.com. Third one is yourdigitalsupporter.com. And the last one is heartofworshipproject.com. All right, so let's focus on the business ideas really quick. So Tino Times Castellanos is like my online persona. And my actual name is Florentino, but everyone just calls me Tino, and I just prefer Tino anyway. But that's kind of where the Tino Cast comes from. I basically want to have like an online alter ego, right? So basically the whole purpose of Tino Cast is to kind of brand myself, right? Whether it's professionally, right? Whether it's like a portfolio or, to showcase my skills and abilities. But then I also want to use it for like my own personal brand, my own personal endeavors, so that I can pursue the things that I want to do and kind of be like a person of interest, right? A person, like an authoritative person. Think of like MKBHD or Linus Tech Tips, things like that. I want to be a strong authoritative figure for, a lot of things. And, we'll get through that throughout the vision board. But yeah, so that's kind of what that is. The whole purpose of that is it's basically going to be an online portfolio of who I am and what I do. So let's say I want to land a job, or I want to promote something that I'm doing or a project or whatever, I can put it on there, and I can showcase my skills and abilities. Next is Blue Line Devices. So I've been serving in ministry for a little over 15 years. My biggest strength is worship, and that's kind of how I got started in church. I actually got started in worship. And long story short, I've been serving, in worship, and I've noticed a lot of things, right? Like I've noticed, worship teams need help with certain things. Like maybe they need a product, or maybe they need in-ears, or maybe they, something broke and they need to replace it. And so rather than, these churches and, small businesses and things like that, looking for this expensive items or not being able to afford certain items, I want to find cheap alternatives that are still good quality through drop shipping or e-commerce shipping, or just print on demand and things like that. And I want to be able to offer great quality products for a cheaper price. And so right now, I also just want to give a quick disclaimer. Like my biggest focus is always going to be church, small businesses, nonprofits, and startups. So anything that doesn't really have the funding, maybe doesn't have the resources to accomplish certain things, like bigger brands and bigger companies. But that's always been my focus, because I grew up in these environments, and even right now I'm in the same boat where it's like I don't have the money to spend on advertising or to spend on certain services, like, or to hire someone to help me. I'm gonna have to figure this out on my own. And so in the same way, I want to be able to provide those types of services and resources to these specific group of organizations and things like that. So that's what Blue Line Devices is. My goal long term for Blue Line Devices is to actually sell my own products. So I have some ideas for some products. Maybe later we can add more details to this vision board. But as of right now, I just want to get some cheap products online through drop shipping and be able to sell some products. Next is Your Digital Supporter. So Your Digital Supporter is basically a service that I want to provide as like a marketing agency, right? So like I said earlier, right, sometimes churches and small businesses or whatever, they're looking to start a website, or maybe they need help with their online social media, or whatever the case is. I want to be able to help them out and be able to build these things out for them at a cheaper price, rather than charging $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for like a simple landing page. Instead, charge a cheaper amount, like $1,000, and actually get it done within a week or whatever the time frame is. But yeah, that's what Your Digital Supporter is. And finally, my baby, my biggest project, the one that I care about most, is Heart of Worship Project. So for me, one of my biggest goals is I want to start a nonprofit. And what I want to do is I want to be able to finance churches and small businesses and things like that when they're struggling. So in my time as a worship leader and just as a creative, I've seen like small businesses struggling to have the finances to build a website, or maybe a church, maybe they had equipment that started failing and they need to replace it. Or I've even seen people like break into churches that I've worked with, and things went missing. And so, now they're like, how do we build this? Where do we get that? And things like that. So Heart of Worship is the solution that I wanted to provide, is to be able to give them the financial resources they need to, accomplish their goals, and also build a team of people that can go and actually help. So whether it's like me going to set up their sound, or help build their worship team, or whatever it is that they need, like that's basically what Heart of Worship is. And so my heart, and the reason why I'm trying to start all these other lines of businesses, is because I want those lines of businesses to actually be the funding for Heart of Worship Project. So rather than having churches or small businesses and startups like have to pay something up front, my companies and the things that I start doing and the things that start generating money, I want that to kind of like invest into Heart of Worship Project. But yeah, so that's kind of the business ideas that I have for now. There might be like one or two others that I have along the way, and some of them might tie into each other, or to one specific one. But that's kind of the goal for some of the business endeavors that I have. Now for services, I do have a couple. It'll be digital marketing, right? Marketing. Did I spell that right? I did not spell that right. All right, so digital marketing. Trainings. Cool. So for services, I'm a very creative person, and I don't want to be stuck doing one thing, right? Like there's people that focus on one thing. For example, Linus Tech Tips, their main focus is computers and technology. Same as MKBHD, his thing is like technology, product reviews and things like that. Or like Doug DeMuro, his main thing is reviewing automobiles and vehicles. And so, as much as I wish I had a niche, right? Like I want to just do the things that I love without being limited or without being like, oh, you're supposed to be an expert just on this one thing. Like, no, well, I have all these interests and passions and I want to turn all of that into a resource for others. So my biggest one right now is digital marketing. That's the one thing that I have 7 years of experience in. I've been doing it professionally. I've helped churches. I've helped smaller clients. And it's been a really cool experience and I've learned a lot. But now I want to apply it for myself and for all those who are tuning in. I want to be able to show you some of the secrets that I've learned along the way, some of the free software, some of the free services, and some of the affordable options that are out there. Because if you try working with a marketing agency, one of the things that I've noticed is they'll charge you a lot of money up front. So let's say $5,000 to build a simple website, but then they don't follow through or they don't deliver something that's good quality or something that resonates with your audience or your goals. And so that's why I want to step in and kind of provide these solutions to, these smaller businesses and churches and things like that, because they don't have that flexibility of being able to spend this kind of money, and be okay with it. So, so my goal is, one of the services that I want to offer is digital marketing, whether that's building websites, providing content creation, whatever. So we'll kind of break that down in a later video, but that's definitely something I want to offer. Another thing I want to offer is trainings. So one thing that I've recently been told is that I'm really good at teaching and that I should consider teaching. And so I've been thinking about this because I do have a couple things that I can teach, like for example, Canva. I'm really good at Canva. I've been using it for the last 5 years and I've mastered all the, the ins and outs of Canva, all the shortcuts and things like that. And I've used it professionally and also, casually for my own endeavors. And, that's something that I know people might struggle to use, especially Canva, constantly having updates and all these things like that. So it's definitely something I can teach. I can teach live streaming, I can teach other services, I can teach digital marketing. There's a lot of things that I can teach, and there's things that I'm really, really good at, and then there's things that I'm okay at, but still, I want to be able to teach others the stuff that I learned, and give other people that opportunity to step into something greater. And finally, another thing I want to do is I want to be a consultant. Whether that's for churches or small businesses or whatever, I just want to be able to work with these organizations and be able to offer them my skills. Like if they need help, hey, we're trying to do this, we don't know what to do, this is our budget, what can we do? And I want to be able to offer, my services and my, skills to be able to help them achieve those goals. That's kind of what consulting is going to be. And those are the services that I want to offer for the time being. Another thing too that I want to do is I want to do brand. So for brand, there's 2 things that I want to do. So the first one is worship leader. And the next one is content creator. I don't know if this is the right word for what I'm thinking about, but we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, so as I said, I'm Christian. I've been serving God since I was like 7. I've been serving in worship. I've been, a youth leader. I've done a lot in church and for churches, and I've been involved in a lot of conferences and events and things like that. I've worked with a lot of pastors and ministers and things like that. And my biggest calling, and the one thing that I know for sure I feel in the bottom of my heart, has always been a desire to, worship God at a higher capacity. And the way I view it is like I want to be America's worship leader. So, think like Chris Tomlin or Michael W. Smith or like Elevation, I want to write songs and worship God in a way that no one's ever worshipped before. Write songs that no one's ever heard before. Like, I have all these ideas for this specific aspect of my life, but this is one that like I cannot rush it. I can't force it. This is something that just has to happen when God decides that it's time. But I'm a good musician. I'm a good singer. Whatever. I'm not the best. I'm not like this superstar skill set levels, but I know that this is something that my heart truly wants to do, and so I want to market myself as my own, brand or my own. I want to be basically like an artist, but not like in that sense of like, oh, look at me, I can sing and blah blah blah, but more in the sense of like, hey, like I want to lead people into worship, and I just want to be really good at it. The next thing I want to do is I want to be a content creator. I want to be someone who's like an authoritative figure in the online world, right? So like, like I mentioned earlier, like MKBHD or Linus Tech Tips, like I want to do that where it's like I'm creating content of the things that I like, I like marketing. I like, uh, you know, like gear. I like, all these different things, right? Like, and I don't want to give too much away. I'll write it down in the ideas portion, but yeah, I have some things that in interest that I really want to pursue. Maybe we can use as things and content that we can create for the websites and whatever it is that I'm doing here. But yeah, so that's what I want to do. Now for the ideas, I have a lot of ideas. That's kind of the thing about me, and that's kind of why I don't want to just be stuck as like focusing on one specific thing, because I have a lot of interest. But I also don't want to be too vague where it's like I do everything and a lot of things and it just doesn't make sense. So the hard part is just going to be tying everything together. But I do have a couple interests, so I'm going to start writing some of these out really quick. And yeah, go from there. So the first one is going to be so I have a video series that I'm planning on doing. I also like 3D printing. Can't type today. 3D printing. The next one is going to be drones. Then I want to do automotive. Next I want to do real estate. Cool. So one of the ideas that I have is I want to start a couple different video series. One of them is like regarding dreams. So, over time, I'm a very creative person. And so I have a lot of dreams that are very interesting to me. And I've even had like a series of dreams where it's like I had one dream and then a couple of days later I have another dream and it's like a continuation of that first dream and so on and so forth. And so then like in my dream space, like there was like this whole world that was created or like this theme that kept recurring. And so I don't really know what the purpose of these videos are just yet, but I definitely what I want to do is I want to use creative tools like Blender or Illustrator to kind of bring my dreams to life and kind of share them with other people, because maybe other people have had similar dreams and maybe they're wondering like, why the heck did I dream that? So that's kind of something I want to do with the video series. I have a couple other ideas for videos that I want to do. Like maybe I want to do like a podcast type thing, and then also I want to do like a like a worship leader kind of focused conversation. But yeah, so there's a couple ideas there that I want to do. Another thing I'm interested in and I want to get into is 3D printing. I have a couple ideas of things that we can print that maybe, would be useful, maybe some products that I can create just 3D printing. But I have no idea what I'd be doing. I've never had a 3D printer. I've never used 3D printing software, but that's definitely something I'm interested. Like I definitely want to get better at Blender and, being able to create content and 3D renderings and animations. And I've done a couple, which, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, but definitely something I want to keep doing in the future. Another interest that I have is drones. So I really like, whether it's FPV drones or whether it's for, B-roll and footage and recording videos, like aerial shots and things like that. That's another thing that I want to pursue, and that's something I'm interested in. Now, the last two, which is automotive and real estate, this one's a little bit interesting because I'm not looking to like be a salesman, like I'm not looking to become a real estate agent and sell houses or like become like a dealership dude and, sell cars or whatever. This is more like just things that I'm interested in, goals that I want to achieve. For example, for automotive, like I want to be able to purchase certain cars or do certain things with cars and be able to make that part of my journey. And so that's why I have that on here. And then real estate, I have some real estate ideas that I want to pursue, but these are like really big. And I know that I'm not going to be able to do them unless I have, a lot of money or people that are, see the vision or understand what it is that I'm trying to do. And, maybe they want to fund me or something like that. But my goal for real estate is I have two angles of it. So on one side is, obviously I want to get like invest in a property and build my own property, right? So maybe buy a plot of land and build something from scratch or get a dilapidated house and, flip it and, live in it and, build something that's my own that where I can create or like my space and have the things that I want in a house. But at the same time, I also have like this idea for like this creation center, I guess, if you will. I don't want to go into too much detail regarding that for the sake of this video, but the whole point of that is I want to create like a building where it's like a dedicated space for creators. So like, let's say you're a musician and you need like a studio to record in, or let's say you're like a content creator and you want like just an area where you can go and just like create content for like an hour or whatever. That's basically what I want this place to be, or this building or whatever. I want it to be a place where creators can come and use the facilities and just, have this space available for them at a cheaper cost rather than, spending thousands of dollars elsewhere or for like crazy studios. And then I want to create like a couple like apartments or whatever for all these creators to live in. So if you're a creator, obviously sometimes it's not always guaranteed that you're going to make it or that you're going to earn a certain amount every month. But I want to definitely have these units available for creators to live in where they can like connect and work amongst other creators. And then I also want to build a church specifically for creators, for people who maybe have like ways that they want to express themselves and maybe not everyone understands it, right? As a creator, I've seen so many debates in the Christian world like, oh, having lighting is bad or dressing a certain way is bad. And, and I don't want to get into too much detail regarding those things, but all I am going to say is like, I have a heart for people like me, people that have struggled, that have all these ideas. And, I really do believe that there's a reason why I'm putting this video together. I might not know what that reason is right now. I don't even know if it's going to work out, but I definitely want to give it a shot and see where it goes. Lastly, the last list here is going to be some of the roadblocks that I've had, and I have had many. but I'm hoping to be honest and transparent about it because this is something that I know a lot of people might struggle with or connect with. And so this is going to be the one thing that I'm going to have to overcome in order to accomplish all these goals. Um, you know, but yeah, so let me go ahead and write these out and I'll go over them right now. So if I'm going to be honest, I think the biggest hurdle, the biggest roadblock is myself, right? I have ADHD, I overthink, I overanalyze, I have a vision for what I want. And once I start like creating something, and if it's not what I envisioned in my head or the quality that I want, I kind of like put it off to the side or put it on hold. So that's why I find myself right now like trying to overcome myself. That's going to be the biggest hurdle because I'm my biggest critic. But yeah, another issue I have is finances. Obviously, right now I don't have a job. I need income. I need money. I need to land a job, and I have a little bit to work off, and I only have like I don't know 3 to 5 months to make something of myself. So that's something I'm gonna have to figure out. Plus, in the long run, I gotta figure out how to get rid of debt and figure out where to invest money. I will say this, like, I'm not financially incompetent, right? Like, I don't spend money on stuff I don't need, like, I'm not going to go to a 5-star restaurant and drop like $300 just because, oh, I want a steak. Like, I don't do things like that. I'm very humble and, like, I don't mind eating 7-Eleven pizza for like a whole month, right? But yeah, but I do know that I do need to figure out a way to increase my finances and create my own income so that I don't have to rely on a job. And that's basically the whole point of this. Like, I don't want to depend on a job anymore. Another issue I have is housing. So I've lived in Section 8 housing for the last 20 something years. And obviously now it's been a hurdle for me because it's like everything is income based. I can't make a certain amount of money because then it's going to uproot us. It's going to cause us to have to move out and all these things. But I also don't want to stay here because everything is so limited. I can't have certain things. I can't do certain things. And so I need to figure out a way to break into that. And so my goal for housing is to break the financial barrier. So my goal is going to be $150,000 a year. And my minimum to even scratch that is going to be $130,000. So I really need to figure something out to get to that point. But until then, I got to figure out how I'm going to move and how I'm going to deal with that. And lastly, the last thing that I need to figure out is going to be skills. I have spent a lot of time trying to learn certain things, trying to get better at my craft, and I've encountered moments where it's like I don't understand something or like I can't figure something out. Like, for example, just recently I was trying to start like a Shopify store and I just was having so much trouble like connecting stuff or like finding a way to like make it all work. And so, like obviously, yeah, you can go online and find like tools and videos on certain topics, but sometimes it's like really hard to find like a specific question. Even like using ChatGPT, like sometimes it doesn't work or it doesn't answer the way that I want it to. But yeah, so skills is definitely something that I want to increase and I want to get better at. But yeah, this is kind of the goal. This is my vision board. I know there's a lot more details. I know there's a lot more, aspects to some of these things, and we can even break them down further. But for the sake of this video, I just want to be able to kind of just lay it all out there. And now, it's there. Now it's presentable. Now we have something to work with. And, I encourage you to click the link below, look at this vision board. And if you see anything that you think might be successful or that we can do together that, will take off or will scale, later on, then let me know. And, this is something that I'm really interested in and that I need it to work, I have a couple other business endeavors that I'm trying to pursue as well, which we'll probably cover in like a later video. And we're going to go through this, one by one. But if this is something that interests you, if this is something that you want to be a part of, I want to encourage you to, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and get involved. I have a couple links down in the description below so that you can help me and support me. If you want to donate financially, I have some links where you can do that. I also have an ebook available that I wrote for worship leaders, and this is something that I also want to pursue. And if that's something that interests you, you can feel free to purchase my ebook. It's $15, and it's 55 pages. It's a great ebook. I'm not saying it because I wrote it. I'm just saying because it's definitely something that I wish I had when I was, starting out or when I was struggling. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole point of this channel. And, I want to thank you if you made it this far. Thank you for hanging in there. And, I know I rant a lot, but yeah, I hope things get better from here. But until then, I'll see you on the next one.